It's 4 o'clock on Thursday. You know what that means, don't you? It's time for another exciting episode of Taxi Music's Quarantini Happy Hour. Woohoo! My woohoos are getting worse every day. Oh man. Thank you, fake band. Thank you, fake audience. Let's hear that one more time. Yeah. They love the show. All right, let's see who's going to show up in the chat room now that we've officially launched the show and they've gotten their notifications. There's Dan Weber and Darren Fletcher. Hello, gents. How are you? Where's everybody else? It's going to be just the three of us today? Come on, I know at least 1,000 more people are waiting to see this show. Apparently not. Oh my goodness, slow response today. There's Brenda Thompson. Hey Brenda, how are you? I hope people hurry up and get in here. I've got just the funniest story just happened to me literally 5 minutes ago. Hello, Bob Gunnerfeld. How are you? I can't wait to tell the story, but I don't want to tell it to like 4 people and then have to repeat it again in a minute. My voice is actually good. Should be bad because allergies are just like going crazy. Hello, Justin. Hello, Akira. Hello, John Pearson. John, I thought I was texting you some pictures of how well the Gopher Hawk worked and texted it to somebody else I know in Nashville. They were not amused. Hello, Peter Rahill. Dan Weber is still there. Saying hello to everybody. All right, a few more people in the room, and I am going to tell you guys a really funny story. Hello, Dale Markley and Cass McKenty. Wind chimes. Hello, DW. Hi, all. All right, a few more people, and I am going to tell you today's really funny story. I can't stop laughing about it. It literally happened when I got done laughing about it and walking in my front door. I looked at the time, it was 3:57, so it was just minutes ago. All right. Yes, for some unknown reason. Go ahead, smash that like button, would you? Dean Turner, Michael McGraw, hello, Christopher Jones. All right, so first of all, I was going to do a Ask Michael Anything show today because I just didn't have a good idea for a show. And frankly, these were never supposed to be planned shows like the regular weekly Taxi TV episodes. These are supposed to be more just, hey, we can get together and hang out to keep ourselves feeling like we're being social in this time of social distancing. So this isn't the funny story, but I just went to the grocery store. Just got home like an hour ago. And I'm still amazed in a city the size of Los Angeles, there were still people in the grocery store who had no masks, no gloves, and they were absolutely not social distancing. Why is it the people that have no mask and gloves are the ones that when you're looking at the ingredients or the calorie count or whatever on the back of I was looking at English muffins, and this guy and girl, they look to be like 30 years old, not like unintelligent looking, at least outwardly. And they walked up on either side of me and started reaching in to also grab English muffins. And they're sitting there looking at the packaging. And they were like, less than a foot away from each of my shoulders. It freaked me out. All right. So I think there are enough of us here now that I got to tell you the funny story. So as I was pulling in from the grocery store, I went, oh yeah, that's right. What do you call those things? The birds of paradise were looking pretty wilty this morning. And as I pulled in the driveway, I said, oh, a couple of new ones have bloomed. Maybe I'll run back out there in a little bit and chop a couple of them off and stick them in the vase. I say vase because it's the classy way to say it. And so I'm putting away the groceries. I've got to say, it felt really strange. I was washing all the fruits and vegetables, put a drop of soap on there, run it under hot water. When I got to the Persian cucumbers, I laughed. I'll just leave it at that. I'm looking at them now. Avocados. Hang on, I got to show you guys something. That is a sumo tangerine, baby, from Australia. They come around once a year for a couple of months. They've been hanging out a little longer this year. I literally eat tangerines every day of my life. I love tangerines. I am a tangerine connoisseur. I know all the different varieties of tangerines. I've got seeds in my nightstand drawer from my favorite. I generally get seedless tangerines, but every now and then you find a seed in one. So when I find a seed in a particularly tasty tangerine, I'll leave it on the nightstand and let it dry out. And I've got a little container in my nightstand drawer that I keep all my favorite seeds from. So that's what I'm going to do someday. I've tried germinating those seeds. I've tried the wet paper towel thing. All that crap doesn't work for me. So I am going to take them to a local nursery and say, here you go. I'll give you $10 for every one of these that you can turn into like an 8-inch tangerine tree. All you got to do is just germinate those suckers and I will give you money. Anyway, these are delicious. They are the tastiest. They're juicy enough. There are others that are juicier, but these are sweet, delicious, perfectly balanced with the sweetness and the acidity, and they're really friggin' big. But they're $2.99 a pound, $3 a pound. This thing weighs about 3/4 of a pound, so they're not cheap. Songs from a Headband says, we'll have to bring you some tangerines to the road rally. Hello, Peter Rahill, Melissa Williams. Okay, it looks like an orange snowman. I know it does, doesn't it? I should put a little face on there. Oh, what a day this has been. We have a really exciting show coming up in a couple of minutes, but first I've got to tell you about what happened. So I go to the grocery store, I get my tangerines, I get my avocados, I get my Persian cucumbers, I get a dozen yogurts, all the stuff. So I pull in the driveway and I see the aforementioned, where are they? Those guys, the Birds of Paradise. And I remembered that this morning I noticed the ones in the vase are a little wilty. So I finish unpacking all the groceries. I wash off all the fruits and vegetables. I sanitize my hands again for like the 10th time today. And I thought, right before the show, I thought, I should go out to the front yard and get a new Bird of Paradise or two. So we have new neighbors. They've been here for like a year and a half. They actually moved in about a month before the last round of fires here in LA, and houses in our neighborhood actually burned down, sadly. So that was their welcome to the hood. Anyway, they seem nice enough. And I think they've got 3 kids. They've got a son who looks to be about 12 years old, a daughter who looks to be about 9 or 10, I'm guessing. And I think they've got an infant because, believe it or not, our neighborhood coyote has dragged diapers, poopy diapers, out of their garbage things and left them in our yard. At first, I thought, I can't believe the new neighbors. We have literally found 2 soda cans and a beer bottle in our yard, right on the other side of the wall that separates our 2 homes. And I said to my wife, I've met them at the end of the driveway on garbage night. They don't look like the kind of people that would heave beer cans over a wall. Certainly not a poopy diaper. It's the coyote. I'm absolutely convinced, because now that I can see the muddy coyote prints on the wall and know where the coyote goes back and forth, that's where the stuff was. So this coyote, for some reason, picks up tin cans, like could you imagine? Coyote picks one of these up, jumps over a 5-foot wall with it, then deposits it in my yard. That coyote's got a personality, I tell you. Anyway, so I decided, I know, big, long build-up for the punchline on this thing. So I decided that I'm going to go out to the yard and I'm going to get a Bird of Paradise or 2. I've seen their kids before on garbage night at the end of the driveway hauling in their garbage thingies when I go to get mine. And one time, like a month after they moved in or so, I see the kids and went, I really couldn't tell if they were adults or children because it was getting dark out. I could only see silhouettes. They looked to be 5 feet tall-ish. Anyway, so I said, "Hey, how you doing?" And I stuck out my hand and started walking toward them. And these two people just ran away from me. I mean, bolted into the house and left the garbage things at the end of the driveway. I'm surprised they didn't yell, "Stranger danger." And I really didn't understand until I saw the whole family getting in the minivan at some point later. They had kids that are kind of tall. So it was the kids. I scared the crap out of the kids by merely offering my hand and saying hello. And that was before the coronavirus, okay? If it happened now, I'd understand it. But, so today I decide I'm going to go outside and I'm going to get me a couple of new flowers for the vase. And I take this with me. I walk out the front door, and who's out there but the two kids pulling in yesterday's garbage dumpsters. They saw me walk out the door with this, and they just took off running again. I am absolutely sure that before today's show is over, there's going to be a doorbell, and I'm going to have to go talk to the dad. But I did get a new, that thing, whatever they are. Oh, man. Okay. Kira Canyon says, I should have worn a hockey mask as a respirator. Oh, man, those poor kids. Yeah, the parents are probably trying to talk them down right now. I mean, seriously, they ran. They didn't just like walk away briskly. They full on ran. They left the dumpsters at the end of the driveway. I'll have to go take a peek later, see if the dumpsters, they probably made their dad go get them. We're not going out there anymore. That crazy dude next door. Meanwhile, yesterday, the coyote walked across our backyard at exactly 10 a.m. sharp. It walks up to the wall. It kind of trotted. It was loping across the backyard, goes right to the wall, and just jumps over the wall into their yard. Could you imagine if those kids are in the backyard and all of a sudden, you know, a nearly German Shepherd-sized coyote lands in their backyard? This thing is big. John Pearson knows about coyotes, and he and I were talking about him the other day, and I told him I thought that the one that I've seen on our patio in our backyard looks to be about 65 pounds. And I was basing that on our German Shepherd Grand Dogger, Maggie, who is 85 pounds. And this thing is just not that much smaller than her. So I went online and I looked up California coyotes run about 50 pounds. This one is big. Now that I saw it yesterday, you know, it wasn't on video. I didn't see it from the second floor looking down on it. I saw it from the first floor. It was like 30 feet away from me. And this is a very tall coyote. I mean, the thing is almost waist high to me. Not like I'm, you know, a basketball player or anything, but, you know, it's a big one. Hello, Tamara Miller. Excuse me. Okay, so on to business. As I said, I was going to do an Ask Michael Anything episode, but I've got something I want to do beforehand, and this is called A Tale of Two Members. Okay, so we get emails every day, tons of emails. Martin Gravel says the coyote just found a gopher store. Nope, not anymore. That store is being closed. Okay, Tale of Two Members. We get emails all the time, and we got this one yesterday. It was forwarded to me late yesterday afternoon. And I'm going to use the name because the gentleman, you'll see, he's saying, you would never post this on your website. Well, I'm going to do better than that, Sergio Mello. Hopefully Sergio's in the chat room or stalking the show today because, Sergio, I'm doing this for you, okay? You asked. I'm doing it for you. And here is his email that went to our member services person, or persons, one of them. Not long ago, dissatisfied with the lack of transparency with the taxi staff, I decided to write to CEO Michael Lasco. Moi. What I received in response was a shallow message from a manager who doesn't even sign her last name, telling me that they kept the reviewer's name secret to preserve their privacy. He's talking about the screeners in our A&R department. He goes on to say, the fact is, and I'm reading you every word of this, by the way, I'm not editing or anything. The fact is, I'd like to know who are the people telling me if my music is good or not. I want to know their names and, if it's possible, a little bit of their biography. After all, I pay $5 each time I pitch a song. Hold on. There we go. That's what $5 sounds like. The things that caught my attention are, actually I inserted the word are, number one, the head reviewer has no last name and no curriculum. She signs only Angela. Number two, the guy who reviewed my songs with a hit songwriting credit list also has no name. Oh, he's got one. We're just not going to tell you. And number three on the list from Sergio Mello is no one bothered to list his hits. If that was true, don't you think they would be releasing this information to all affiliates? I'm assuming he means members. I'm going to go back and answer all these things in a minute. I just want to read you the letter in its entirety. Okay, I've checked some taxi member success stories. He does that in quotes, like the ones from Brad Miller and Matt Bantle. I looked at their pages on SoundCloud, and it looks pretty fake to me. Fake, I tell you. That was me. How come a successful composer has a SoundCloud page with no music? But I've felt a sense of distrust with this company, meaning Taxi, for quite some time. Right now, in the middle of this pandemic, I keep getting insistently offers to pitch songs from all genres. Who in their right mind can believe that record companies are looking for chart-worthy country songs, original and modern Christmas songs? Question mark. And how do they intend to record those songs if all activity in the studios has ceased? What do you want to fool? Who do you want to fool with that? I have studio musicians, friends in LA and New York, and everyone is locked up at home reading stories to their children. I'm not renewing my subscription. I'm sorry, but I can't be a member of a club where the only person with the last name is the full owner. Actually, I'm not the full owner. I own 96.47%. Every legitimate business publishes good and bad reviews, but unfortunately, Taxi keeps selling the false impression they are helping the career of several beginning composers, but in fact, they're boosting their own business and that of nobody else. To prove to everyone that this is a reliable company and that you are well-intentioned people, I would like to see my letter published on your website. Can you do that, Sergio Mello? Thank you, Sergio. Sergio, if you're watching the show today, come on, out yourself. Jump in that chat room. I'd love to speak to you directly. So there you go. So I did better than putting it on the website. I put it on a TV show. Okay, so now let's go back and address these issues one by one. We get this stuff all the time, you guys. This is not, like an outlier. Believe me, 28 years of this stuff, and you wonder why I'm nuts. All right, not long ago, to satisfy the lack of transparency with the Taxi staff. I mean, seriously, do we not have the most transparent company that you've ever met? Let's vote on this stuff, just in case Sergio actually is watching. Let him see how other Taxi members... And Sergio, before you start with any conspiracy theories, I did not call up a bunch of Taxi members that are my friends. I mean, they are my friends because they hang out in the chat room. I didn't reach out to anybody. I didn't tell anybody in advance about this. They are real, live, bona fide Taxi members, and I want to see what they think about this stuff. So do you guys find my staff to be transparent or not transparent? Hey, Edmund, how are you? John Pearson says, probably trying to fit dated music into current market. Dean Markley, yeah, so people are giving me +1s, which in taxi TV land means, yes, I agree. Transparent, I love taxi. +1, +1, yes. Screeners are listed on the taxi website. Why, yes, they are. With their first and last names. Transparent. So everybody's weighing in saying transparent. I know he's probably going to say they were afraid to admit that they don't think it's transparent because then you wouldn't forward their music. But you guys know me better than that. I actually don't even touch your music. Darren Moss says, they're real. Met them at the road rally. Edmund Red, what did you miss? You missed a member complaint letter that I'm reading publicly because he asked me to post it on the website, so I thought I would take it one step further. Happy Ron says he could see through all of them. They're very transparent. Oh, man. Okay, so that's the issue number 1. We're not transparent. What I received in response was a shallow message from a manager who doesn't even sign her last name, telling me that they kept the reviewer's name secret to preserve their privacy. It's true. We use numbers instead, but we do list the screeners on the website, by the way. And the reason that the critiques say that they were done by number 6 or number 241 or number 478 is because many years ago we had, excuse me, glad I didn't do that in the grocery store. I would have been tackled. Many years ago, we used to actually give out the screeners' names in the very early stages of taxi. Till one day we got a phone call from a person who lived in Los Angeles, was clearly unhinged, and was screaming at me on the phone and said, I've got an effing baseball bat in my hands right now, and I'm heading over to your office to rearrange the heads or the faces of your screeners. See how they feel about my music then. So, that was when we started using numbers. Yeah, in a perfect world, I would love to be able to tell you, here's the person and here's their bio. We have had people, we openly invite people to drop by the office and they can see the real screeners with these actual bios. No second stringers, no interns. They're all incredibly well-credentialed people that are listening to your music. Anyway, so I didn't want to get any of our screeners' heads beat in with a baseball bat. Somehow that seemed unreasonable. And now, with the internet being what it is, could you imagine that if somebody got a critique, somebody who's unhinged, and those people are out there, that if they got a critique from a screener and they didn't like the critique, then they would just Google that person's name, find their address, and go over there and rearrange their face with a baseball bat. So I think you guys would all agree that there is a need for that, for protecting them. Darren Moss says, do you retire a screener number once that person stops becoming a screener? Yes. No two people have ever used the same screener number. Excuse me, that was a rock star burp. I will tell you that John Brahaney, I've leaked his number. John Brahaney sadly passed away a few years ago, and he was kind of the godfather of all taxi screeners and like family to me, just so integral to the startup and the company in general. I can't remember if he was either number 7 or number 12. I don't remember, but he was the only person whose number we've ever given out. Anyway, so there you go, Sergio Mello. Now you know why we don't. I mean, frankly, I would worry a little bit with somebody who's as angry and frustrated as you are about not knowing who these people are, that if I told you, you would probably go online and make their life a living hell if you didn't like what they said in a critique. So can't have that. Got to protect my peeps. Fact is, I'd like to know who are the people telling me my music is good or not. I want to know their names and possible a little bit of their biography. After all, I pay $5 each time I pitch a song. $5 right there. So yeah, like I said, you can go to the website, go to the top navigation bar at the top of the page, I'm not sure who my producer is today, if it's Ariana or Bria, but whoever is producing today's extravaganza, would you kindly tell me if it is John Brahaney was number 12? Okay, good to know. And can you tell me where on that top nav is the screener list so that we can tell this person? Justin Mather, that's 2 tangerines. You are so right. Wind Chimes Music says, I got upset at a critique years ago, but once I started watching Taxi TV, I learned why things are the way they are and how the industry works. I feel much more prepared. Thank you for saying that. Please hold. Whoever the mystery producer of the day is going to check and tell us where the list of screeners can be found. It's under the About section. It's on the left-hand side of the top nav. I remember that. Go to About. There's a little pull down and choose A&R team. There you go. And whoever my mystery producer is today, it says under About in the top menu, click A&R team. So there you go. They're in there. Occasionally there are a couple of new ones that we haven't put in there yet. But yeah, I think that we've got a lot of them in there. Okay, continuing on with this letter from Sergio Mello. The things that caught my attention. The head reviewer has last no name and no curriculum. She signs only Angela. Well, Sergio, all I can tell you is the reason she's the head screener is one of the best. She no longer screens, but she actually checks all the critiques before they go out. She is your fairy godmother that watches over all the screeners to make sure that nobody is doing any copying and pasting, which will get you fired instantly as a taxi screener. Instantly. No questions asked. I've fired a couple people whose resumes you would go, oh my gosh, I can't believe that person's actually a taxi screener. And the funny thing is, they copy and pasted back when we were still using pencil and paper. But they were writing the same response. We found 10 critiques in a row that had that. So just adios, goodbye, you're out of here. But I was vice president of Warner Brothers Records. Well, go back to Warner Brothers because you're not good enough for Taxi. Okay, so yes, she only signs Angela. Angela's curriculum is that she's incredibly good at what she does. She was a screener for a couple of years. We absolutely fell in love with her work, and I am so thrilled and honored to have her as our head screener. Number 2 on Sergio Mello's list is the guy who reviewed my songs with a hit songwriting credit list also has no name. And like I said, no, he's got a name. We're just not telling you. Number 3, no one bothered to list his hits. If that was true, don't you think they would be releasing this information to all affiliates, I'm guessing members? Well, if we told you all the songs, then you would know who he is, and then the secret would be out, and some crazy person might pick up a baseball bat. So there you go. Okay, moving on. I've checked some Taxi member success stories. This one's my favorite. I've checked some Taxi member success stories like the ones from Brad Miller and Matt Bantle. I hope Brad and Matt are watching the show today. I think Matt is in Australia, right? I think. I looked at their pages on SoundCloud, and it looks pretty fake to me. Fake, mind you. Why would somebody fake a SoundCloud page? How come a successful composer has a SoundCloud page with no music? I don't control their SoundCloud page. I've never met either of these gentlemen. I've seen them post on the forum, I believe. I think I may have gotten an email from Matt Bantle, maybe 2 over a couple of years. I think he's been featured in our success stories. But how come a successful composer has a SoundCloud page with no music? Like I said, we don't control what they do or don't do, or what they put up or don't put up on their SoundCloud page. But I can venture a guess, and my guess is that everything they had on their SoundCloud page has been signed by a publisher and the publisher didn't want the music out there in the wild anymore. Just a guess. I could be right, could be wrong. I don't know. But Sergio, if you think that we go to the trouble of faking success stories, why don't you go on the Taxi Forum, which is at forums, with an S, forums.taxi.com, and look at the thing that says success stories. There are hundreds, maybe thousands of posts in there. And believe me, only a tiny little percentage of our members ever actually take the time to let us know when they've had success in any form through Taxi. And so we certainly appreciate the people who do post on the forum, which can you guys go do that after the show today and dedicate every post to Mr. Sergio Mello. Anyway, go look at the forum. And if you don't believe us, why don't you post your letter on the forum in the general section? Because it shouldn't go in the success story place because only success stories go there. But go in, there's a thing called general something or other, and that would be the perfect place for your letter. I would love it if you would put your letter there. Please do. I invite you. That way you'll be happy. It was on a famous TV show, and it was on the Taxi website. So you get your wish and a bonus. But I have felt a sense of distrust with this company for quite some time. Right now, in the middle of this pandemic, I keep getting incessantly offers. That's what it says, incessantly offers to pitch songs from all genres. Who in their right mind can believe this is, they get better with every paragraph. Who in their right mind can believe the record companies are looking for chart-worthy songs, original and modern Christmas songs? And how do they intend to record those songs if all activity in the studios has ceased? I've got 2 words for you, Sergio. Home studio. Today's password is home studio. I would say probably 80% of the music you hear on records today is done in home studios now. He says he keeps getting offers. He's talking about the daily emails where they're looking for music. General Hangout. Yeah, that's the place you should post this letter is in General Hangout, okay? Do you think because there's a pandemic, Sergio, that people have stopped recording records? Yes, and first of all, I'm not entirely sure. Hey, John Pearson, is Nashville shut down? I'm not sure if you guys are quarantined or not. Let's find out. John will answer me momentarily. Andre Stepanian says, record every day. The pandemic has increased music making. It probably has. He means public studios. Yeah. Opening April 30th. So the studios are opening back up April 30th. And the other thing you've probably forgotten, Sergio, is a lot of those listings came in before the pandemic started. And just because people can't go record them right now until April 30th doesn't mean that, when everything did get locked down, I'm sure that the companies on Music Row didn't think, wow, we shouldn't look for any hit songs for these upcoming artists, records for these big hit artists because there's a pandemic. No, they continued to look for the songs. And guess what? We continue to find good material and send it to them, and they don't even have to leave their house to check it out. So the process can go on. So I don't know what you were thinking there. Anyway, I'm sorry, but I can't be a member of a club. This is no club, damn it. This is a cult. A club where the only person with the last name is the full owner. Every legitimate business publishes good and bad reviews, but unfortunately, Taxi keeps selling the false impression that they are helping the career of several beginning composers, but in fact, they're boosting their own business and that of nobody else. Okay, yeah. Oh my God. Yes, Sergio Mello is getting famous because of this. I know. I'm happy to give him the attention he so richly deserves. I really am. Okay, so if anybody agrees with anything in this letter, please say it in the chat. You know, I would love to hear the truth. Songs from a Headband says, I've been a member with Taxi for 5 years. Taxi is legitimate, very honest company in my experience throughout with the CEO and the staff, and I'll be successful soon. You have a good attitude. Joseph Alonso says, you are not happy, Michael. You are pissed. Actually, no. This literally, you know, I've been dealing with these letters for 28 years. Yeah, Sergio's a real person. Michael's getting edgier as he gets older. Nah, I've always been edgy. Actually, I've mellowed. Anyway, so there you go. Sergio, I hope you're watching the show. Dean Markley says Taxi is God's gift to songwriters. Wow, that's a nice compliment. Thank you. Most people, Winchime says, most people who get upset with Taxi don't understand how this industry works. Probably true. Darren Fletcher apparently Googled Sergio, found out that he was a Brazilian diplomat. Well, not all that diplomatic in this letter. Excuse me. Tony Skutnik says, I've been a member since 2009. If I had an issue, would I still be a member? Joseph Alonso said, Taxi is a tool that's very helpful. Andre Stepanian says, Michael has thick skin to survive. I don't know if my skin is all that thick. I think I've become somewhat immune to these things. John Pearson says, I'd say Taxi's been working pretty darn good for me with 3 exclamation points. Yeah, you've been on a roll. Good roll. Alex Dillon, you probably wouldn't want to post the name of companies in there because now crazy people can see the company names. He says, I've had placement and signings to a film and TV publisher, so Taxi works. Joseph Alonso says, I learned to be a better songwriter thanks to Taxi. Andre Stepanian says, can't wait to Google him after the show. But Google him now. Justin Mather says, I defend Taxi all the time. Isn't it sad that we even have to? Darren Moss says, I've had music on TV from Taxi and publishing deals. It's real. Love the critiques, even if they upset me for a bit. Yeah, you know what? If you don't get upset, I get it, man. I totally feel for you guys. I wouldn't want to get a critique that says, sorry, you're not good enough. Andre Stepanian says, I can't do without Taxi. It's a lifetime membership. Speaking from my own experience, this is from Edmund Red. Speaking from my own experience, you have to understand the business of sync licensing, and you'll understand the Taxi business model. Tamara Miller says, met some awesome co-writers and publishers at the rally. Jesse Goplin says, I just joined, let's go. Joseph Alonso says, the Red Rally is one of the best experiences I've ever had. Can't wait to the next. Bob Gunnerfeld says, joining Taxi's been the best thing I've ever done. Just renewed my membership. Windchime's Music. Nancy Cleel says, I just recently joined, had a guy do an eye roll when I said I joined. Guess what? 3 years from now, when you're making some nice change because you joined Taxi, go roll your eyes back at that person. It's amazing. People just don't know. They think they know what Taxi does, but they really don't. And then they spread the word. Oh, yeah, Taxi's evil. They're a scam. Yeah, we've been scamming people. I shouldn't even say that because somebody will edit it up. Yes, we've been scamming people for 28 years, and we've gotten away with it through tens of thousands of members over 28 years. Do you know one time ABC, the ABC TV show 2020, this was back in probably 2001, 2002, somewhere around there. A camera crew showed up at the front door one day about 3 o'clock in the afternoon with one of the talking heads from the ABC TV show 2020. They came to do an expose, a gotcha expose on Taxi. I even let them look at our financial records. I let them look at anything they wanted. And when it was all over, the woman who was the producer of the show bought a membership for her fiance. What does that tell you? Oh, man. All right. Kisco Amari says, is Taxi useful for reggae artist songwriter? On occasion. Honestly, if reggae is the only thing you do, you're not going to find a lot of requests for reggae. However, we do get requests. If you make really good, authentic reggae, we do get requests from some incredible publishers that put stuff in film and television all the time. And yeah, they always need really good reggae, but they don't ask us like every week. It might be something that you see pop up 10 times in a year. Sometimes it'll be reggae instrumental, sometimes reggae songs. Akira Canyon says, ML, are you running out of time for number 2 because this is supposed to be a tale of 2 members? No, actually I'm not. Notice that we are approaching the 45 minutes after the hour mark, and I tried to time it out so that I could do each one of these, although the second letter is much different than this one. Okay. Joseph Alonso, you were asking this in the chat yesterday. I saw it, but I couldn't answer it. Michael, when can we have a show doing submissions again? Pretty soon. Maybe as soon as Monday. There's something that I want to do for the regular Taxi TV show, the 90-minute show on Monday. Oh, that's right. This isn't a 90-minute show today. Crap. My mistake. Anyway, if I can't figure out what to do by tomorrow morning, then we will be listening to music on Monday. Okay, so let me get to the second letter. I totally forgot today's a 60-minute show. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. All right, this one is from a gentleman named Brian Whelan, or Whalen, Whelan, and he actually gave us permission. He didn't ask us to post this on the website, but we did reach out to him this morning, and he said, absolutely, you can print my letter, do whatever you want with it in so many words. So, Brian's letter says, good morning from Toronto, Canada. Good morning, Brian. It's currently 5:40 a.m., and I have our 6-week-old baby strapped to my chest because he's obviously the devil, and my eternal punishment is apparently to never sleep again. LOL. Yep, all of us who are parents have been there, and we all sympathize. Trust me. It's the pits, isn't it? When you're up 3 times in the middle of the night with that baby, and you think, man, if you weren't so adorable, right? That's why God makes them so darn cute. Anyway, he goes on to say, I got to go to work on a construction site in about 2 hours. I hope you're not doing steel on the 39th floor, because that would not be good after not sleeping. 2 hours, but as I sit here doing my morning routine, checking Taxi listings, I feel compelled to write to you guys and tell you how I feel about Taxi. Uh-oh. Could it be? Let's find out. As a relatively new member, just about to hit the 1-year mark, I had done what most people do, which is find a listing, find a song that I have, then try to maybe somehow elbow and squeeze it into place for the listing that it sorta kinda fits but doesn't, and then get disappointed when it most definitely doesn't get forwarded. Notice I'm keeping the knife close at hand today. And yes, for those of you who came late to the show, I scared the crap out of the neighbor's kids when I went to cut a flower off of... there we go. Cut one of those off of the plant right before I started the show today. The neighbor's kids saw me and ran inside. Okay, I had a view of this site/company that was incorrect. I was looking at it through my own vanity, my own ego. It wasn't your business. It was my crusade for self-validation. I love that. That's a quotable quote. It was my crusade for self-validation. If it gets forwarded, it's great. Lucky. Or I'm great. Lucky, but great. If it doesn't get forwarded, then they don't understand, and I knew it wouldn't, and it's all rigged for their buddies. Basically, I was treating my own talent, this industry, and all A&R people with a certain disdain. Not a research disdain, but a learned one through the cool stories of the rebel band sticking it to the stiff-necked A&R guys, the representative of the man. Just so happens that I did get lucky with a submission for the instrumental section a few days back. That lit a fire under me. Why did I get forwarded? It bugged the crap out of me. It never happened before. What did I do right? Yesterday I discovered that Taxi TV had a podcast. Thank you, fake audience. Yesterday I discovered that... Where is it? Okay. Yesterday I discovered that Taxi TV had a podcast. As I said, I work in construction and have a 6-week-old. So extra time has been in short supply over the last 9 months. I'd read about Taxi TV, but never had or made the time to watch. I listened to one singular podcast yesterday on SoundCloud. It was the new members podcast with the top questions. It completely changed my whole perspective on the industry, on my music, and my creative process. I never truly applied common logic to this business. I treated it like playing lottery. Throw numbers in and hope for the best. I learned more in that slightly glitchy, 90 minutes. I remember when I think it was the first episode I did from home, and my uploading bandwidth wasn't quite enough, so it was a little glitchy. Learned more in those 90 minutes than I ever knew. It brought home to me that this is a numbers game, a business of people who need to feed families, and most of all, a business of credibility. I mean, why the hell would you send my, let's say, honky-tonk tune that happens to have the word pyramid in it to a listing looking for authentic Egyptian music? Oh, man, that's beautiful. Brian, I love you for saying that. I'm going to read that one more time. It's so good. I mean, why the hell would you send my, let's say, honky-tonk tune that happens to have the word pyramid in it to a listing looking for authentic Egyptian music? Brian, that happens all day long, every day. All day long, every day. That is 80% of the stuff that doesn't get forwarded is because somebody's got the word pyramid in their honky-tonk song and they send it in for an Egyptian listing. I'm really not exaggerating. I mean, it's not those exact facts, but you get the drift. When you hear it said out loud by a guy in the business, it sounds ludicrous. I know, doesn't it? But I needed to hear it out loud. Otherwise, I'd never fully be sure. My incredibly long-winded point here is I always see reviews from success stories from someone who's sold 750 cues, etc. I'm saying right here and now as a new member, 11 months in, Taxi is one of the greatest things to happen to the songwriter/score writer, etc. clan since the industrialization of music itself. Wow, that's a big statement. Thanks for the compliment. Never before has there been a place where I can come to see what the industry wants, listen to great music, gain inspiration, read stories, get advice from our wonderful Taxi TV host. Thank you. And just feel that this magical thing inside, that raw talent can be used to carve out a career in a field I love. Since listening to that one podcast yesterday, I've joined forces with 2 other writers, settled our share percentages, and put together a drone intro for one of the opportunities. My head is clear about my goals. It's time to stop playing lotto and start robbing banks. Not literally. Don't rob banks. It's illegal. Glad you brought that up, right? If I never ever get another if I never again get a forward, Taxi has still been a wonderful experience and well worth the money if you use it right. Do yourself a favor if you've just signed up. Take a day off and click on every link in this website. You may have to take a second day off. To Michael and the team, thank you, and please keep doing what you do. It keeps me doing what I do. From Brian Whalen. Brian, seriously, that letter made all the letters from unhappy people like Sergio not matter to me. This is what we're after. We are after people having that moment of clarity and going, oh, I get it. That's why I do these shows. That's why we put out a newsletter, even though I know not that many people read the newsletter. the quality of the information in that newsletter is astonishingly good. It's life-changing. That's why we have a forum. That's why we do the road rally that I make no money on. Many years I've lost money on the road rally. One year I lost $25,000 putting on that road rally. Literally had to write a check for $25,000 when it was all over. So all this stuff, not to pat myself or the staff on their backs, although they deserve it, we do it all because we want to see our customers, our members, succeed, because that's our promise, number one, and we want to over-deliver on that promise. And number two, it makes us feel good. I mean, who the hell wouldn't want to earn their living changing other people's lives for the better? And because none of us at the company are brain surgeons, none of us are Mother Teresa. We're all just music people, and we found a way to help folks like you succeed, and it feels really, really, really good. So with that, yes, that was a very articulate letter. I didn't do such a great job articulating his articulateness, but man, I appreciate that letter so much, Brian. If you're watching the show today, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Seriously, that letter made my whole week worth living. I would guess Sergio's turn into Brian's with time. Yeah, you know what? There are people like Sergio Mello that turn into people like Brian Whalen over time. The sad truth is that very few of them, maybe 3 or 4 times in the company's 28-year history, has somebody ever taken the time to write me a letter and say, you know what? I had all these bad thoughts about you guys. I was a jerk to you. I told a bunch of people how terrible your company was, what a ripoff it is. And now, I make $50,000 a year because of what I learned from you guys and the connections I made. They don't send us those letters because they don't want to have any egg on their face. I get it. It's embarrassing to admit that you were wrong. Anyway, yep. +1, Brian. Absolutely. Anyway, we've got 8 minutes left. Thank you for listening to those. I just thought that the dichotomy between the two, and basically they were kind of coming from the same place. It's like, is there value in this or not? And one of the people, I mean, seriously, Sergio, honestly, I worry that if we forwarded your music to somebody in the industry, that you would do stuff like that letter to them, and you're only going to hurt yourself. Not that you can't express it's like we live in a country where free speech is one of our more cherished attributes, but if you want to find a way to not make any money in the music industry, it's sending off cranky emails to people that are trying to help you, because word gets out. Especially when you say, can you post it somewhere where everybody can see it, which I did. Thank you for that. But yeah. And then Brian writes this letter going, I had my doubts, but then my eyes were opened and now I see the light. That's what we're looking for. Okay. John Pearson says that needed to be said. Both points of view. Yep, I love the dichotomy. The fact that both letters hit our inbox within, like 15 hours of each other sent me a sign. Michael, should we do a been a member since for fun? Yes, Justin Mather says, let's do that. So how many, post in the chat room, what year you first joined Taxi. And if you've had a couple of years where you were busy making babies or raising children, whatever. Joseph Alonzo once again saying, what's tomorrow's show about? I have no idea. No friggin' idea. It's Friday. Let's party. John Pearson joined in 2015. Darren Fletcher says, speech is free, $5 for a submission. Dan Weber joined in 2013. Edmund Red, end of 2015. Bob Gunnerfeld, 2017. Boy, you guys are like the new kids on the block. Tony Salazzo, 2019. Cass says, listen, whoops, hang on. This is good. Cass McKenty says, listen, even if I hadn't had success with Taxi, I still would have never created as much music. Thank you for saying that. Justin Mather joined in 2007. Mojo Bone, 2011. Darren Moss says around 2000, he thinks. Dean Turner, 2015. I Create For You, October 29. Still fresh but positive. Good for you. Jan Wiledge, 2011 or 12. Kira Canyon, 2018. Dean Markley, 2020 for the second time. Il Raso Emil, 2 to 3 weeks from now. I still have to make my first submission. Working on an Arabian EDM track. Good. DW joined in 2019, second year now. Andrei Stepanian, 2017. Martin Gravel, 2019, wants to become more active. Greg Utek joined in 2009. Darren Fletcher, early 2016. Where did that go? I scrolled and I blew it. There we go. Space Moose, 2020. John Skutnik, 2009. George Gillen says, did you receive my email about being a finalist? 2 songs, the Great American Song Contest, in large part because of the input from Taxi Critiques. There you go. Congratulations. Cass McKenty, +1 George. George must have said something. Oh, he's giving George a thumbs up on getting the 2 songs as finalist. John Pearson says, way to go, George Gillen. Peter Rahill says, never even considered trying a co-write until I learned of Taxi, just saying. Yes, Akira Canyon says, ML, and this is really important. I'm glad you remember this. ML, any updates on AB5? I heard there's a recent change. Thank you so much for bringing that up. AB5 was an absolutely hideous law that was passed by the California Assembly and went into effect on January 1 of 2020. And basically, it made it impossible for, it was primarily targeted at trying to unionize Uber drivers and such, people working in the gig economy. The woman who put the bill through the state assembly is a former union organizer, and maybe she's well-intentioned. I don't know. She wanted everybody, make sure that you get, all the benefits that come with working. Well, as we all know, most Uber drivers don't only drive Ubers. They might work at a restaurant. They drive an Uber. They could be a taxi screener. Our screeners were all independent contractors, and we had to hire, I want to say, 35 new employees. We had to onboard and hire 35 screeners on January 1st, go to all the trouble of doing all the paperwork to make them employees, get all the tax stuff set up, blah, blah, blah. Now, the sadly ironic part of it is that our screeners, all of them have other jobs. They play, on the road with big famous acts. They work in studio, as producers. They could be composers, whatever. They teach piano lessons, whatever it is they do. I think all of them are independent contractors and cobble together a living from various and sundry different things that they do. And so now we had to make them all employees. Well, here we are 4 months later, and they just amended that cockamamie law to say that musicians are exempt. I don't know for sure yet. I emailed our labor attorney about it the other day, and she didn't get back to me. She was probably in labor, trying to find out whether or not that means our screeners are exempt. Musicians are exempt because they are doing something creative. Well, screening is, using their expertise to do something creative. They certainly are doing that when they work at Taxi. So I hope we can go back to the good old way because... yes, it's true. While they were independent contractors, they weren't having any money go into like the unemployment fund, blah, blah, blah. But they can no longer write off their mileage getting to the office at Taxi to do their screening, or their mileage to go anywhere and do any of their various independent contractor jobs. They couldn't write off any of their studio gear. If they go out to dinner with somebody in the industry, they can't write that off as a business dinner. So there were a few things that were kind of good about the law, but as is typical, when laws get passed, there are always unintended consequences. The legislature may be well-intentioned, but they don't really know enough about various industries, and they don't think it through, and they don't realize how many people they hurt when they pass these laws and just say, that's the way it is. So to the best of my knowledge, a few days ago, it was not the law was not overturned, but there was an exemption given for musicians. So there you go. Jan Weilich says, not everybody wants to be in a union. Mojo Bone says, pretty much what we all do, multiple income streams, popular rally class. Yep. Darren Moss has been a member since 2000, very early. Yeah, we actually started the company in 1992, but 2000, that's 20 years ago. Back in the day when Doug Minnick was our vice president and John Brahaney was there. I just spoke to Doug Minnick, who was our vice president. He was at the company, I believe, for 10 years, maybe 12 years. I love him like a brother. We've remained close. We only talk once or twice a year. But we spoke the other night for 2 hours, and it was amazing. He will always be like a brother to me. Akira Canyon says, ML, does that mean that you'll have to fire your screeners and then take them back to filing 1099s? Honestly, I spent $5,000 on legal fees to make sure that we got all this stuff right when we onboarded all these screeners as part-time employees. So is the state of California going to refund that $5,000 I just uselessly pissed away? I don't think so. $5,000. That's a lot of money. Anyway, it's 5:01. All right. Joseph Alonso says, this company has a face, is personable. Others are just online, mysterious. Justin Mather says, great show. Thank you, ML. Thank you, guys. I love doing these daily shows. I don't want to do it for the rest of my life because it does prevent me from doing other stuff, but I really do enjoy these. The tone of them, today's tone was different, right? I love hanging out with you guys, and I'm so glad that we get to do this while we're all quarantined. Please tell your friends, drag them screaming and kicking in to an episode of this so that they can become part of our little cult. Sergio, are you ready to join the cult yet? And also make sure to give us a thumbs up, like us. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I will see you tomorrow. I have no idea what I'm doing for tomorrow's show. Maybe tomorrow we'll just do the whole thing. We'll be Ask Michael Anything. I don't know. But we'll have fun. That's for sure. Maybe I'll have a surprise guest tomorrow. There's somebody that I've got in mind that I think you guys would really enjoy. So see what I can do. See you tomorrow for another exciting episode of the Taxi Music Quarantini Happy Hour. Woo! Bye-bye, you guys. Roggedy! Popcorn show tomorrow.